Very important message about bullying. Bullying doesn't occur in front of, get this, teachers, counselors, administrators, which you probably expect. It happens in front of classmates, other students.
Yeah, and students don't like bullying, but they don't know what to do about it oftentimes. So joining us with an initiative to stop bullies in their tracks are Linda Lee and James Dean. They've got a unique nonprofit, which is called Generations Against Bullying. We're excited to chat with you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
We're excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
You know, it's interesting. When I first started on the show almost 10 years ago, I was like, bullying, everybody experiences that. It's not that big of a deal. Get over it. It's not the same. Bullying is what? Persistent and consistent, and it's something that truly is affecting our young people. So let's talk about your organization and the state of what you think bullying is right now in our society. I had to learn that over the last 10 years.
Well, you know, despite all the information, it's increased 200% over the 5 years. I mean, we could literally fill up this whole studio with amazing materials and programs, but bullying is getting worse. You hear about a story, bullycide, once a week, more than once a week, twice a week. I mean, we are dealing with a whole nother world. Cyberbullying has taken on a whole new life of its own.
It's cruel.
And you attribute that a lot. We were talking about, you know, technology, cell phones earlier. It's so much of that, you know, the kids have instant access and they can be anonymous and direct in some cases when they maybe wouldn't be personally, but it seems so much of it is happening on social media sites and other ways that kids are hurting fellow classmates.
Well, you know, 3 years ago, I would ask elementary class, third graders, how many of you have smartphones? Maybe 4 or 5 would raise their hand. Now you have three-fourths of the class raising their hands that have smartphones.
Wow.
I've had, and you know, without the parental controls, you can imagine, I can't even repeat some of the things that people have come to me that their 8-year-old has been exposed on a cell phone.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And we tell parents, you know, you have to control the social media of your kids. You need to know what they're getting into, and you also need to know who's responding back to them and how they're doing it. So parents, don't believe this is a privacy issue. You need to control what your kids are seeing, because you'd be surprised what you might find on their social media.
Oh, for sure.
I like that you say that. It's not a privacy issue. They don't they don't get their privacy on a social media device that you're paying for or is in your house while they're underage. What makes Generations Against Bullying different? Why, you said there's a lot of people out there working against this topic. What do you do that makes you separate?
Our research has found a very key statistic about all that information that she talked about, and that is, if a bystander, and that's the person who gets overlooked many times in bullying situations, but if a bystander, somebody watching bullying, becomes an upstander or gets involved in a non-threatening way, the bullying will stop within 10 seconds almost all the time.
Okay, this I think is fascinating. 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I feel very strongly that sometimes kids will act or will say something if they know what to say. And it's our job as parents, as leaders, as maybe just older siblings, even teachers, all of us, we all have this responsibility to give them the tools and give them the language. And I think it's a big promise that you make. So tell us very specifically, how do you stop bullying in 10 seconds or less?
Well, it's as simple as going up and if you're watching somebody that's being bullied, saying, hey, that's not cool, and taking the victim and just leading them away and saying, Molly, I got to talk to you about something very important. The situation's over. It's as simple as leading somebody away. If you don't see bullying situations, but you know that somebody's being bullied, you got to give them hope. Be their friend. Talk to them. Understand what they're going through. Because the biggest problem with kids these days is they don't think there's any hope that they're going to get out of it. And so that's what we do. Our Peer Ambassador program is a program in the schools that teaches kids what bullying is and then how to stand up in a non-threatening way. And the biggest thing they need to do that is the big C word, and that's courage.
Yeah.
So you have to work with them with their own self-esteem and their own self-worth, that they have the ability to be able to stand up and do something when they see it.
Yeah. I think that's important, and I know oftentimes they've got to be afraid, well, what if it's turned on me? What if I start being bullied? And that's probably why oftentimes they don't have the courage. So what do you tell kids as becoming an upstander, you know, and doing that, which is very important? How can they keep themselves out of the mix? Is it getting more kids to be upstanders so there's a group that's really standing up and saying we're not going to put up with this anymore?
Well, what we've done is we've turned it around. We're all about creating upstanders. We know about the bystander intervention. We know the focus is placed on, which is very understandable, is the bully and the victim. But it's not placed on the bystander intervention. So we are all about creating upstanders, and it takes courage. So what we've done is we've taken this very ugly topic and turned it around into a movement to make students want to get involved. Yeah. What is it about an upstander? They are the hero. They are the, that's, who doesn't want to be a superhero? As adults, we go to the movies and see all the superheroes. So we've turned it around to make the students want to get involved with our logo and the upstander. You're wearing the T-shirt. Oh, what is that? Oh, you're the hero. You're a good character. You have, you have courage. All the good qualities that you want to be, that a student wants to be part of, and that is really important. A lot of the kids don't want to be a target themselves. They don't want to put on a T-shirt where it says no bullying. That makes them the target. So we've just kind of turned around this whole idea and encouraged them to be part of the movement.
And it's not about making a speech. I think that's what's fascinating about this. In the 10 seconds or less, it's things like, hey, that's not cool, or hey, knock it off, or nobody likes when you do that. And you know what? I think if you want to be an upstander and you're afraid, everybody knows where it's going on. Ask a friend of yours who also has good character and go, I don't know if you've seen this, but this kid's bullying. Will you go with me? I'll say it, but go with me. Support people who stand up. And if I know it's true for me, kids don't always talk about bullying, but if you say to your child, who's the bully in your class, or who do you know who's a bully, they know.
One of the really important things is bully doesn't leave, it doesn't stay at the high school doors. Bullying has lifetime emotional scars. I mean, I've talked to a 70-year-old who's an author, and she still cries and knows the name. Everyone knows the name of their bully, just about everybody.
I do, Tom Pritchard.
See, there you go.
Yeah, and you know what? It's very isolating. Being bullied is because it's like, I didn't even think to reach out to a friend. It's a very isolating feeling.
And it happens in adulthood too, and you got to call them out as well.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's a tough subject. People, we talk to people all the time. If I go to any audience, I usually say, close your eyes, keep them closed, raise your hand if you've ever been bullied, and keep your hands up. Now open your eyes and look around. And at least 60% of every audience does that. And so it shows them the extent of the problem, that this just isn't an isolated thing. I remember my bully from first grade, Jerome Kazmiski.
There you go. And that's a dumb name, too. That's what I think.
He's probably a very nice guy right now, after I punched him in the stomach as hard as I could because I couldn't take it anymore.
Good for you. Yeah, we're calling him out. I like it.
That was how many years ago? We won't say how many years, but how many years ago? It's at a whole new level now.
Yeah, it's different.
365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
You guys have a big fundraiser, so people can join you in this movement for Generations Against Bullying. Here's some information on the Deer Hunter Widows Bash. It's Sunday, November 18th, on my birthday.
Oh, yay!
Kelly's Bleachers at Big Ben, so we can cheers. 414-241-2465, and it's GAB for Generations Against Bullying Now.org. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, you guys. We appreciate it so much.